you're on.
Well, I've been away for a while. This is Jeff Steirle, the Comic Concierge. Logan Fleming, the Comic Gremlin, just ran away. But that's because he's working on the Cell part of our show and Cell. He's got a whole showcase of Mutant Madness he's going to grab some books out of and show us later on. But I've been in the middle of a play for almost 2 months, and that's why I've been gone. And I'm just going to start getting my Monday nights back, and we'll figure out things to talk to you about. But today we have a guest named Jeffrey Smith, and he is a fellow comic collector. He has an interest. He has a small amount of an interesting genre that I have none of. There's some things in the shop, but I have nothing myself like it unless it's a Classics Illustrated type of an older book, and that's the romance genre. And we mentioned earlier that Jack Kirby, as far as the comic book version of this, kind of started that genre up from the pulps that were already in existence and so on. The 50s, late 40s, and that Matt Baker was probably one of the more famous 50s, late 40s comic artists in that genre. Fantastic artist, gone way before his time. But there are artists that have drawn since then that we all know, that did work in the romance comics, and heck, even Archie and Funny Animal and so on, we wouldn't have even thought about. And he's got some really cool examples of books here of the romance genre that I've seen them before, but it's been a while, and I look at them again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can tell who drew that, but I wouldn't have thought about it at first. And also some really interesting cover swipes, where they stole from themselves. So I'm going to let Jeff put a couple out there and tell you whatever you'd like about them.
Okay. Well, I happened across this very large romance comic lot in an auction up north, and nobody wanted them. And to say that I was the only bidder would be misleading, because I was the only person even interested in them, and they didn't even throw it up for bidding. They just said, who wants them? And no one raised their hand, and I said, well, I'll take them. I have no clue what they are. I've never read them, never really knew they existed until I bought these things. And I've got thousands of them. So, of course, when you come across something like this, you have to do your due diligence, because who knows what these things are worth. They stretch back to the Silver Age. I do have some from the early 50s all the way up to about the mid-70s. The guy who collected these loved them immensely. And once he got a title going, he started with number 1. He went all the way through to the end.
Nice.
So they're complete runs. So that really intrigued me. But as I was going through and cataloging them and trying to figure out what I had, some really strange things started popping up. This is My Love from Marvel Comics. I don't have the year written anywhere on this. You guys can look it up. But the lead story here is called My Song and My Sorrow. And they liked the story so much they brought it back. Let's see, this one's number 6. They brought it back again for number 28.
Same story.
Same story. And then because, I don't know why because, it'd be interesting to find out why because, they brought it back again on number 36.
The most popular story of all time.
It must have been. So that was really fascinating.
We're running out of things to do. I don't.
Once I got later on in the issues, I'm like, I swear I've seen that blurb before, My Song and My Sorrow. And of course, I went back and looked through them, and I had 4 copies. I sold one on eBay to someone who desperately needed it to complete their collection.
Check this
out. These are just really cool. And then I started finding even more and more weirdness, is what I like to call it, with these series. Again, My Love. Yep, same series. Number 10.
This is awesome.
The Women's Lib Movement got their own cover. Female Freedom on the banner up here. And No Man is My Master.
And that's why she must leave him. No man is my master.
Exactly.
She has no choice.
And then, a little over a year later, number 25, they did it again. But they just recolored everything.
Not only the same story,
the same
cover.
The same cover, just recolored.
Just in case you forgot already.
If I was a subscriber and I got the second issue of that, I'd be a little bit mad.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't pull that off with a superhero book.
No, not today. So 14 issues later, the exact same story.
That's crazy.
Now, all the major publishers and a whole bunch of minor publishers did romance comics. I do have a few things from Charlton. And this one, actually. All New Secret Romance. Who does that look like right there?
What do you think?
Elizabeth Taylor.
I was going to say.
Yeah. The guy I'm not too sure about. But that's really a very striking likeness to Elizabeth Taylor there in the front, who was one of the biggest stars of that era when these books were published. So
We've got a book on the wall outside that's, I think it's GI Combat. And as the viewer looks at the front cover, you are nose to nose with basically a machine gun on a tripod. And the guy behind it, looking right down the sights at you, dead ringer for Robert Mitchum. Every time I walk past it, I'm like, wow. So it looks just like it.
It's fun going through things you don't really know about. And I grew up with comics, as did you. I'm assuming at some point in your life, the superheroes kind of lost their shine for you for a little while anyway. You ventured out into other things.
I've dropped out of collecting at least 4 times.
I think most collectors have.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm back into superheroes and everything now. But for a little time, this was a really interesting diversion. Here's an issue of Heartthrobs, and you're going to notice if you find a romance comic that doesn't have a woman on the cover crying, I don't think they exist. And here's another My Love. This is I'll talk about that in a sec, the My Love.
Or somebody really, really, really happy, but it's because they've done something devious.
And
And someone in the background is crying.
Yeah. And the Marvel ones especially, I find are a hoot because no one really wants to take credit for writing them. On the Indicia page, it usually says something like, a true story as told to Stan Lee. Like, Stan doesn't want to take credit for it, but he'll say that... somebody told me this, and I'm putting it to paper.
And he was his own stenographer that day. He wrote down the stories himself, obviously, because Stan's want to do that. Right.
You guys can look this up. I couldn't get a Wi-Fi connection in here to confirm it, but this is Our Love Story number 28, and that cover looks strikingly similar to John Romita's work on Spider-Man, the Spider-Man No More cover, the famous one.
And the interior does too.
The interior was actually done by Sal Buscema. I looked that part up.
Okay.
So maybe the cover is done by Sal as well. I'm not too sure. But if that's the case, then who cribbed who? For that cover style, for all the rays coming out there.
What's happening here?
A couple more things real quick, and then Logan's going to come in here and try to sell you some stuff.
What? Well, we're not quite done yet,
What?
though.
No, I said a couple more things real quick.
Yeah.
This is...
I love that cover.
It's kind of cool. The reason I love this, I'm going to keep it and have it graded later. This is my one comic book that is Silver Age by Marvel with Stan Lee in the credits. And I forget who the artist is, but it's someone you would recognize from the superhero genre. And it costs next to nothing because a lot of people don't give any love to the romance comics. I can't afford X-Men 1 or Amazing Fantasy 15 and the number ones or from any of the Silver Age Marvel stuff. But I got this one.
You have a legitimate number one.
A legitimate number one.
And it's a nicely composed cover.
And it really freaks people out when I say I've got a Silver Age number one written by Stan Lee. What? Which one is it? And it's a romance book, and then
My Love. What?
My Love.
Romance still counts.
It does.
It does.
For some folks.
And then this is we've all voted it as the creepiest cover that we've seen on a romance comic.
A little bit.
You guys can see that. Love triangle with an 11 or 12-year-old?
12.
12?
She was 12. I did scan through.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
You didn't see this one?
Oh, it's creepy.
Well, it's not a triangle. It's weird. I scanned through the story. At first, she's afraid that her sister is being attacked by this guy and hurting her because she said, no, stop. And so she's beating on this guy with her fists. And then the girl says, go to bed, little girl, you silly little fool, or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And apparently, by the time that the younger sister ran up and tried to help her, she was, not resisting as hard and everything. I don't know. Mixed messages. It's no wonder. There's an entire kettle of fish there I'm not going into. But the point is, as she ages, as she grows, she saw it on TV, she saw it in the advertisements, love and kissing and all this stuff, and she was afraid of guys, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but she's like college age. before she's, if I remember seeing this correctly, before she's in a situation where she's alone with a guy and isn't totally afraid of him. And he actually saves her from drowning and she doesn't have much choice. And
You're a fast reader.
he wouldn't let her go until he was sure she was safe, and then
What year did this book come out?
Early 70s.
she revived him because he went down, and she's not. I'm not. She says, "I'm not afraid anymore." Blah blah blah. But it's probably 10 years have gone by, and she's afraid of guys.
Yeah, the themes in this book are downright disturbing by today's standards.
Well, yeah,
You're right.
No. Okay. I mean, within 2 panels, it's like, what?
Yeah,
Consistency.
it goes from a felony to a romance.
Well, it depends on
Felonious romance?
whose memory we're talking about, hers or his. I don't.
So yeah, very very weird stuff. If you guys want to check out some romance stuff, the shop here's got a bunch of it. It'll be interesting, especially with today's lens, looking back at some of these stories.
It's an interesting switch too from the 50s, where in the 40s, where you had jungle girls that were basically just softcore porn, where they're chasing tigers and swinging through the jungle, and the less they had on, the better. Where you had, exactly. Where you had women in bondage, constantly in danger, being threatened, and now we've got, they've actually got real stories.
But they're all miserable.
But they're all sappy.
They're all miserable.
So, can't we just have a strong woman character that has thoughts of her own and can stand on her own 2 feet and doesn't necessarily cry on every cover? Not in the 70s.
Kiss random strangers because
Yeah.
they're blindfolded and they're being tricked.
Yeah, not in the
Wonder
70s,
Woman?
apparently.
What?
Stop.
What?
Stop.
I heard awesomeness. And I was
Well,
like,
yeah,
Wonder Woman.
now it didn't start out so good, but
No, that's true.
But anyway, thanks for giving me a couple minutes here to talk to you guys.
these are fantastic.
I just hang out here. I'm usually the one behind the camera moving it so these guys look good. It's my job making them look good. And
Well,
I
you're
brought
the
a few
only
things
hope we
in.
have of looking semi.
When I'm not using my cell phone.
I don't know.
So anyway, I will digress to the professionals here.
Professional.
Oh, heck you say.
You?
All right, so we're moving from the show portion
To
the
show
sell
and-
portion.
The show and sell, yes.
I found a nice little short box of X-Men up there.
Did you? I love X-Men. I love
X-Men. I forgot we had it. Let's duplicate copies of things. It's good.
But one of my favorite X-Men stories, and
Love this.
I love this book. Actually, as I was walking back
It's
in,
listed as one of the favorite stories of all time.
I think I accidentally sold it on my way in here, so I got to go give it to the person who
Yeah,
basically
I
bought
can
it.
believe it.
But this has got to be one of my favorite stories, and you guys have seen me talk about it several times. It's that Juggernaut Colossus bar fight.
It's absolutely worth it.
Guys, Wolverine in a cowboy hat. Gah.
And Colossus getting the smackdown on him from the Juggernaut,
And
who's
then-
off duty. He's just sitting at the bar drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then suddenly the bar's bashing him upside the head, the
Yep.
entire bar.
Yep. And then
And it's got a backup story. Have you seen the backup story?
Yeah.
Wolverine versus Hercules.
Oh boy.
It's fantastic.
And then Wolverine's sass at the end.
Yeah, well.
I thought we were friends. We were right till you messed up.
Yeah, it's... He
Speaking
deserves
of,
it.
Speaking of messed up. Speaking of this, now
How
this
many
is in
messed
our.
up?
It's messed up. It's not messed up in grade, but he is messed up.
Well, yeah.
Now I pulled these out of our Mutant Madness case. Haha, that's what we're calling it. Surprise.
Chimichanga!
Chimichangas. Anyway, we have our first appearance of Deadpool.
Correct. And Gideon. And Domino.
And, well, is it
Sort of.
really?
It's not worth an argument.
I know. Well, like, we could split hairs or dominoes all day.
Yes.
And-
What's interesting about this, though, is that with the upcoming movie, both Cable and Domino appearances are starting to heat up again because Cable's going to be in Domino. What am I thinking? Deadpool.
Domino's gonna be there too, yeah.
Cable is percolating, and not only his first appearance, but his first issue. Even the reprint issue, the second print. And the,
First issue,
of course,
you say.
Deadpool's going back up again in the cycle because
Yep.
of the very same thing. So.
Because it's awesome. And, since we're talking about Cable.
This is hot, the first Cable right now. Very hot.
Now, what's really cool is one of my favorite books, and I should have grabbed that from the back. It's our Cable that we have with our newsstand edition Cable.
Yes.
with the UPC.
Yes.
Which is just amazing.
Crispy, bright colors.
It's just
we have
beautiful.
3 copies of First Cable.
3?
3.
Are you down to 3?
We're down to 3, 2 raw, 1 slapped. We have a trifold,
Oh.
which includes, and it was a limited edition kind of thing from Wizard. It came in a folder. Cable number 1,
Oh.
cable second print number 1, and cable number 2, all in one folio.
That seems awesome.
And it's like numbered and stuff. It's pretty cool.
I'm all about that. That's good.
Anything is cool. As a matter of fact, why this even happened would be nice to pick up too. I believe it's called Marvel Superhero Secret Wars.
Is it Secret Wars?
I think it is, because when they're off-world, Colossus gets involved with an alien and cheats on Kitty, and that's where it all starts.
Well, you don't ever bring home an alien to your mom.
Can't. I think she died.
Or to the X-Force.
And it's hard to bring her home when she dies. That's another point.
Have you seen
Unless you're
what they
Phoenix.
do?
Next subject.
I was
Anyway,
going to say, Phoenix. you
yeah,
know.
she just keeps coming back and coming back.
Speaking of Marvel Legacy, if you guys haven't read Marvel
Kind of a
Legacy,
little obvious,
it's a
though.
one-shot.
Let's just run over the bad guy with a beer truck?
Just saying. Things happen.
Yeah, things happen.
Things happen.
Snicked. Anyway, so what we have... But, yeah, True Believers. We were just talking about this earlier.
Oh, True Believers. True
Phenomenal.
Believers are the best way to get... Because
It's what
I
Marvel,
can't afford
it's what Marvel Tales
Amazing
used to do
Fantasy
with
15.
Spider-Man books. You know, Amazing Fantasy 15, Spider-Man 1, all of the major, Avengers number 4 with Captain America, all the major issues, the major keys in Silver Marvel Age history. First Group just came out recently.
Right.
They were printing for $1.
I think the last ones that we got
The original
for
format.
the True Believers were the Ant-Man and Wasp,
Yeah, this
which is great. There was First Inhumans.
we have Inhumans number 1. We
Invaders
have
number 1.
Amazing Adventures,
Oh, yes, we do.
which is the Inhumans, and we have early Inhumans in the Fantastic Four. We have them everywhere. So many Inhumans.
56 say what?
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 45.
Dang.
45 is the first Inhuman. Well, 44 is the first Inhuman with Gorgon.
56?
That's another story,
Which one's
too.
56? Why does 56
I don't
pop
know.
out of me?
I don't know, because...
All right, homework. What is Fantastic Four number 56?
And 52 is Black Panther.
I think that my numbers were...
53
I was
is...
just 10 issues off.
Yeah, it could be. 53 is Claw, I think. I don't know. We'll look all these things up when we have time.
There's some really good Fantastic Four issues. I think that's what it boils down
There's
to.
the stretch between, what was it, 44 and 60 or something is stretch.
You're
I
on
see
fire
what-
there.
I see what you did there. You did that thing.
You need to
and
be
this thing-
transparent, though.
I just can't see where you're going with this. The point is,
The thing is...
honey, what we have is that's probably the best run of Fantastic Four ever, and we're just rambling. Point is, we've got awesome stuff in the case. It's all mutants, and I don't know what we're going to do next month, but we change the case every single month. I want more. What are you talking about?
Exactly, Jeff.
And this is my daily life. I have no idea what's going on. Fortunately, the Gremlin does. He's here more often than I am.
The Gremlin pretends to know what's going on.
That's all it counts.
I think that we should let them go.
We should.
We should. Bye, folks.
Back out, read a comic.
Yeah.
Romance. Or maybe Colossus getting his butt kicked.
Colossus.
This is where it's reading again. Is romance. Oh,
It
bromance.
starts. There's no bromance there. Wolverine
Colossus?
broke his heart.
Bar.
Colossus. Oh yes. Then it would make a farmers.
That's a fun.
Ah.
Hey, look at it. Okay.
You can read it. You can read it.
Is this Paul Smith art?
It's awesome.
John Romita Jr. art. Okay, this is when he was still okay. Sorry.
You did not.
I
You
sure
not.
did.
Ah.
Oh, he sucks now. Anyway.
Oh.
Sucks so hard.
Does Jeff need help turning off the thing? Jeff does need help turning off the thing.
Well,